He then began to try and rationalize what I could have been seeing and hearing.
Pay attention.
I have to say, I was insulted because he even suggested that maybe I had too much to drink.
Oh, no. Being from a small town, I would never live in a big city. I never want to. Now, don't get me wrong, visiting them is very, very nice. I've been to big places like Seattle and Boston, and I really, really enjoyed my time there as a tourist. So Seattle's beautiful, right? I even went to Los Angeles. The weather in those places are incredible. On the West Coast, just beautiful, beautiful stuff. Even in the middle of summer, it's nice and cool. And I'm from South Louisiana, where it's always hot except for like 2 weeks of winter. But I went to Boston, and it was bitter cold one time. I mean, bitter cold. To the point to where when you would walk between buildings, those gusts that come through between the buildings would chill you to the bone, to where I'd actually audibly make noises like, "Argh!" It was so cold, man. I never, ever, ever want to do that again if I don't have to. I got chapped lips on day one, which is a good indication that I'm not that kind of guy. In all the same, though, big cities, like my first experience with one was just going to New Orleans, which in terms of big cities is kind of small, but the traffic itself was just ridiculous. Like, I know why people in New York and Boston don't really drive all over the place, you know, that they just take public transit. It's because it's nightmarish. Everything's a freaking one way. There's stoplights everywhere. You don't even know half the time when you can take a left turn or when you have to go straight or what's a one-way. It's a mess. For a small town guy like me, not the kind of thing. Now, all those present themselves as nightmares to a guy like me, but not real nightmares, not crime nightmares. And there's a lot of that goes on in the big cities too. Not that we're immune from crime in small towns, but let's just face it, most of the bad stuff in general happens in those big cities, and it's scary to think about what some people experience living in those cities. We're gonna check out a reaction video of a nightmare experience by Wanzi Entertainment. Make sure to head on over to his channel and subscribe. Hit the notification bell, guys, and if you like reaction videos, make sure to subscribe to this channel as well. Let's get into the reaction.
The events of the story take place over the course of a few nights.
All right.
Before we get there, I need to provide a little bit of backstory.
Okay.
My husband and I had just moved to New York City, like right in the heart of the city. The apartment was breathtaking.
Nice.
I kept thinking that it was a loft apartment you would see in a movie or a television show.
Probably expensive too.
My husband was fortunate enough to land a well-paying job that allowed us to afford this beautiful apartment. My favorite part was the view. At night, you could see all the lights from the city out of the windows.
That is really, really pretty. I got to stay in a pretty tall hotel in Seattle and see, you know, the city lights at night and stuff. And it is a beautiful, beautiful scene. But the cost of living at places like that is mind-boggling to me, guys. Like, our mortgage is less than $400. We live very, very modestly, okay? It's not just the fact that we're from a small town. We live very modestly, and we like to save money and not overspend and stuff like that. And some people, you know, have mortgages of like $3,000, and I can't wrap my head around that. What? And then an apartment, something that's not yours, you don't get to keep it for that much money? You know, I can understand people that live in certain cities to get the income that they are, and it's all relative, but I just don't see myself spending that kind of money on anything that temporary. That's just me, you know?
It didn't take long for my husband to make some friends at work.
Sure.
He's a very social person, and being in sales for a decade makes it easy for him to strike up a conversation with anyone.
Too. Sales.
Almost a year into living in the city, we had our weekend crew that we would hang out with routinely. We would have dinner, play games, or just have some drinks with Becky and Jim, as well as another couple, Jason and Liz.
Okay.
But my husband's best friend from the city was a man named Eric.
Okay, so is Eric Asian? Are they portraying him as an Asian, or is there just something going on with his eye? Because I'm not trying to be judgmental, okay? But his eye looks sinister. Is that just me or not? Does that not look sinister to you? I don't know, man. This guy gives me the creeps already.
Eric did not have a significant other, but never came alone.
Okay.
He always had a friend that he would bring.
All right.
He would always joke with me and my husband. Don't worry, guys. You never have to worry about me being the third wheel.
All right.
This turned into a reoccurring joke,
Why does she
and
look
Eric was
concerned?
almost referred to as this third wheel.
Yeah.
One night after one of our little get-togethers, my husband and I were getting ready for bed.
Uh-huh.
We talked for a while, but I'm pretty sure I fell asleep mid-sentence.
All right.
I woke up at some point in the middle of the night. I didn't look at the time, but it was still dark, so before 5 a.m. if I had to guess. I heard a noise, and I know that it's what woke me up.
Uh-oh.
I just laid in bed, feeling a bit uneasy, and looked up in the dark room.
Is it Eric?
I thought I could see a figure of some kind in the corner of the room. The more I tried to focus, the more and harder it was to see.
Use your phone light, girl.
I felt as if though I could almost hear something like breathing or wheezing.
That looks like Eric's mouth, too. Listen. Eric is already sus with me, all right? I already think he's hiding in the room. But seriously, if you hear something at night, turn your phone light on, man. Look, I keep my phone on dim. You know what I'm saying? Like the backlight all the way on dim. And I don't use the LED and wake up everybody in the room every time I think I hear a little something. But you better believe I'll hit my power button just to let the screen like illuminate around me just enough to see. You don't need a whole lot of light at night to see. When your eyes are perfectly adjusted to the dark, a little bit of light goes a long way, and it doesn't wake everybody up in the vicinity, you know? You just shine around, just make sure you all alone like you thought you were, and you go back to sleep. It's not a big deal. Man, if I heard somebody breathing, you best believe I'd look around.
After a few minutes, I felt much better and chalked it up to some kind of vivid nightmare and rolled over back to bed.
That's it?
I was too scared in the moment to look and didn't want to wake my husband up for something that was probably just a giant overreaction.
Heard somebody breathing and you didn't look
The next
around.
night came and same story.
Oh my God.
We went to bed at around 11. I didn't tell my husband about the events of the night before. Again, I was awoken in the middle of the night.
She's gonna get murdered.
This time I looked at the time and it was shortly after 4 a.m.
Okay.
I could for sure hear breathing this time. I looked around the room from the bed, but this time I couldn't see any figures like I did the night before.
Under the bed in the
I
closet.
could just hear the breathing and it felt so close.
Under
I
the
tried
bed.
waking up my husband, but he was out cold. I didn't try awfully hard because he had to wake up in about an hour for work.
Right.
I didn't sleep well the rest of the night, and I woke up with him in the morning and did not want to stay in the bedroom alone when he left.
Well, I guess not.
I moved to the living room and slept on the couch for a couple of hours. The day was miserable. I couldn't shake the weird feeling for the entire day.
All right. So something is definitely creepy going on. Now, all the foreshadowing that kind of told us about how it developed Eric's character and then kind of left Eric alone, okay? And just started going on with her experiences. Now, at this point, I'm pretty sure it's Eric, but I don't know. It could possibly be paranormal, all right? It's an apartment. A lot of things have probably happened prior to that couple moving in. Breathing is one of those things that, you know, a lot of people experience in paranormal activity. Just like subtle things that kind of trigger your senses, but that don't manifest themselves. And you really wouldn't know without getting up and looking around, but I'm still kind of betting on Eric here.
Around 2 in the afternoon, I took a shower.
All
When I
right.
turned the shower off and was drying my hair in the bathroom, I heard something from outside the bathroom door. I froze in paranoia in the bathroom and listened with my ear to the door, but heard nothing.
Okay.
Finally, I worked up the courage to leave the bathroom and felt a minor moment of relief when I was in fact still alone in the apartment.
Maybe it is paranormal.
Shortly after 5, my husband came home from work and I told him about the events of the last 2 nights.
Honey, there's a ghost in the house.
At first, he laughed as if though I were telling him a joke.
Baby, I'm
Once he
fucking-
realized how freaked out I was, he
Exactly.
then began to try and rationalize what
serious
I
here.
could have been seeing and hearing.
Pay
I
attention.
have to say, I was insulted because he even suggested that maybe I had too much to drink.
Oh, no, 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 no. You don't say something like that to your significant other, especially if they freaked out and panicked about something. Honestly, you had too much to drink. Alcohol don't make you hallucinate when you have a few beers, unless you was like really hitting it hard. But honestly, like, she's generally concerned here. Your spouse should be supportive and say, okay, sweetheart, I'm sorry you're going through this. Let's figure it out, you know?
But that was not the case whatsoever.
Right.
He then said in a reassuring voice, "Listen, if it happens again, just wake me up.
All right.
Search the room."
Thank you for taking me serious.
This actually did give me some relief
Honey.
that I was able to talk to him about it.
Good.
However, I was still anxious that I would hear or see something again.
Right.
That night came quickly, and I was so tired from the previous night that I fell asleep even though I was practically petrified to go to bed.
Right.
Again, right around 3:30 in the morning, I woke up to the sound of breathing, and it was undeniable at this point.
It's time to wake your
I looked
husband
around
up.
the room and saw nothing, just like the previous night.
Because he's under the bed.
I woke up my husband and told him to listen. He said he could hear the breathing too. He sprang from the bed and turned on the light.
Right.
There was thankfully nobody standing in the room.
Closet?
That brief moment of solace ended quickly when that nightmare came true. My husband walked over to the walk-in closet, and emerging from under the bed was our friend Eric.
I knew it!
He sprinted towards my husband,
I
who was now
knew
in
it!
the closet, and tackled him.
Why is he trying to kill
I
him?
screamed in panic, absolutely freaking out.
Oh
I jumped
my
from
God.
the bed and tried to make a run for the door. My
What
plan
is
was
he
to just
doing?
yell in the hallway until someone hopefully heard me. I didn't even make it to
What
the
a
door before Eric had
freak,
caught me.
dude.
I screamed as loud as I could, and thankfully in that quick moment my husband sprang out and tackled.
I was not ready for him to drop kick him like that. Oh, snap. That's too much. What's he doing, y'all? Seriously, what is Eric doing in their house? Is he just a creepy stalker? Does he not know the husband is home? If he's trying to do something to old girl, he's gonna get dealt with. Now, granted, I have a gun. You know, I'd have probably shot the man. When I hear noises at night, I get the gun. But it's his friend. This is so weird, dude. Drop kicked him though. God.
Eric in return. I ran to the cell phone and called the police.
Hell yeah.
My husband is a fairly large man and was able to get Eric to the ground and keep him there and subdue him until the cops showed up.
Subdue him
To
until
the police's credit, they showed up incredibly fast.
You know how tired you
My
get?
husband only had minor scrapes and bruises, but had a pretty big knot on his head.
What the hell were you doing?
When the cops were arresting Eric, we could hear him saying, "I didn't want to be the third wheel anymore.
What?
I didn't want to be the third wheel anymore."
Oh my God.
What's even more disturbing is that he told the police he was inside of our apartment for a couple of days. He had somehow stolen my husband's key and made a copy of it. He was apparently breaking into the apartment for weeks, but had been staying during the night for the last few days.
Super creepy.
I'm not sure why he didn't try anything while we were sleeping or
I know.
any of the times myself or my husband were alone in the apartment.
Exactly.
It still freaks me out thinking that this man was inches from where I slept.
But
We're now back in my hometown and not living in the city anymore.
right.
The terror you feel being trapped that high up in the sky with nowhere to run has made me extremely claustrophobic.
It's true.
You never know what people are capable of,
No, you don't.
even people you consider close friends. The police did inform us that Eric stated he didn't intend to hurt either one of us that night, but the look in his eyes told us a completely different story.
Exactly. I mean, what was his motive? Not wanting to be the third wheel anymore. What does that even mean? Yeah, you don't want to be lonely. You don't want to be counted out. How does harassing a perfectly happy couple make you any less alone? Right? Go make a friend. Go out and date. Harass them about getting people with you. You know what I mean? Find you that someone special. You know, a guy or a girl, whatever you're into. But I mean, honestly, that's what normal people do. Hiding under the bed. You know, he said he didn't have no bad intentions or to want to hurt him, but he kind of jumped on old boy in the middle of the night and started choking him. He was also, if you crazy enough to sit under somebody's bed at night for hours on end, can you imagine? Or just camping in somebody's house, stealing somebody's keys and making them to get into their house unsuspectingly? You have to sleep during the day in order to do these behaviors at night. Like, that's crazy sauce. And if you that crazy, you're gonna be crazy enough to kill him sooner or later. Whatever's motivating you to do that dumb shit, you're gonna end up doing it later, just worse, you know? Oh my God. Hope you guys really enjoyed this one, guys. Wan's Entertainment, make sure to check him out right there. There's a couple other videos that I reacted to from him as well. Thanks so much for watching. As always, this is Zueljin signing off, and we'll see you next time.